The tsunami of 2004 is one of the greatest natural disasters in memory. Nearly 300,000 lives lost, millions displaced or homeless, and billions of dollars of aid pledged in support. But thousands of volunteers donated more than money. They gave their time and themselves to travel to the devastated region and lend a helping hand to those in need of relief.
The first image that came across that television was a helicopter landing at the Rocha Resort where I had just been 6 weeks earlier. From the moment I saw it hit, I called the board of directors and said, we've got to do something.
Todd Barber retired from a successful financial consulting career in his 30s. An avid scuba diver, he invented the Reef ball, a simple yet ingenious habitat for fish and coral. These specially treated cement balls imitate the shape of real coral, and within a few years the coral planted on them grows and resembles a reef that nature would take thousands of years to create.
All it is simply the base that a natural reef is going to grow around.
Now 42, Todd is the chairman of the nonprofit Reef Ball Foundation and devotes his time to coral restoration projects around the world. A few weeks before the tsunami hit, he initiated a project on Rocha Island in Thailand. This is what the Rocha Resort, where Todd was working, looked like on the morning of December 26, 2004. A total of 11 waves ravaged the island with devastating results. This was wave number 7. After being almost completely destroyed, the Rocha is now mostly rebuilt and receiving guests. But Todd Barber is concerned with what's not visible. The coral reefs of Thailand and the aquatic life they support are essential to the Thai economy.
If you burn down all the forests, everybody would be screaming about and yelling it. You know, this resort, when all the debris was there, it's all been cleaned up. But what's under the water has sort of been ignored.
Thailand has rebuilt its major tourist destinations, and many volunteers have participated in beach and reef cleanups. The tourists are beginning to return. This is the second visit to Thailand for Todd Barber of the Reef Ball Foundation. Meeting his plane are Philip Go and Sampong Daupaset. Philip is the owner of the dive shop on Rocha Island and the point man for the Reef Ball project in Thailand. Sampong owns the La Flora Hotel in Khao Lak, where he will host the volunteers later in their trip. Accompanying Todd is Dr. Lee Harris, an ocean engineer from the Florida Institute of Technology, who will lend his diving skills and erosion expertise to the expedition. The first stop will be the Rocha Resort. 4 months earlier, 30 volunteers from 13 countries, as well as locals, worked to clean up the bay there and plant numerous reef balls. After following up on the conditions on Rocha Island, the team will journey to the devastated region of Khao Lak, where they'll initiate a project with local fishermen.
So there's two kind of components that we have of this. One is get tourism back so that the average person in Thailand can begin to make money again through tourism like they had in the past and be self-sufficient. And secondly, to aid those directly impacted, such as the fishermen that are going to need to have that fish habitat rebuilt so they have a place to feed themselves again.
Todd Barber can't wait to get in the water and see what's going on. He and Dr. Harris suit up at Philip's dive shop.
And which tank should we set up on?
Any tank you need.
This is my first reconnaissance dive since we've returned to the project, so what's important for me is to get an overall picture of what's going on down there, how the corals are doing that have already been planted, how the area has changed since the tsunami. One of the things we're looking at with Dr. Harris is the sedimentation. The sand got all sorted by the tsunami, and that's affecting the corals, so we want to see how much that's settled down. It's going to be interesting. I really am excited to see fish life and see how they're enjoying the reef balls.
The deeper coral reefs tended to do fairly well, but the shallower ones took the most impact. Unfortunately, the shallow coral reefs tend to be where the fish are born. So what that means is right now you're going to have an overabundance of fish in these areas for a short period of time as fish don't have shelters. But without babies in 3 years or so, there's going to be an extreme shortage of fish in this area.
Todd immediately sees evidence of the enormous power of the tsunami, a reef turned over like a leaf in the wind.
We found several of the coral heads that were flipped upside down that have now since died.
There's also trouble with the reef balls placed there by his team a few months earlier. Not only has the sand sucked out by the tsunami waves half buried them, but leftover debris is doing damage as well. Soft trash moved around by the tsunami is stuck in the reef balls, killing the coral. The same problem is attacking the natural reef.
These kind of plastics, as it disintegrates on a coral, catches it very easily, wraps around the coral, and chokes the coral out. When the coral dies, it breaks off, and it moves to the next reef, and it starts its destruction all over again. The trash is wreaking havoc on the reefs.
There's a lot of sand that's moved in, probably at least a foot of sand.
It's not a pretty sight down there. We have a lot of work to do this week. That tsunami's just not going to give up on us just yet.
The reef ball team is setting up molds to make new reef balls. 2 volunteers from Phoenix, Arizona arrived just in time to help out. John Walsh is the president of the Reef Ball Foundation Volunteer Division and is their coral propagation expert. Heather Andrus, a physical trainer, has volunteered on several other reef ball projects. The team discusses strategy. While Dr. Harris moves the endangered reef balls to deeper water, the rest of the team will build new ones.
Let's build a reef ball.
A reef ball is made using a simple fiberglass mold. Inside is an inflatable bladder which allows the ball to be floated to its location. When removed, it creates a sheltered space for fish.
Reef balls have a special concrete formulation. It's a marine-grade concrete that's designed to last more than 500 years. However, it's our assumption that because corals are going to grow around these things within 500 years to protect the concrete, that basically you can consider them a permanent addition to the reef systems. So just like a coral reef lives for thousands of years, we expect the reef balls will be there long after I'm gone and be something for my kids' kids' kids to enjoy when they go snorkeling or diving one day.
Reef balls come in all shapes and sizes. They can be as small as a basketball or as big as a car, weighing from a few pounds to a few tons.
That's it.
With one reef ball in tow, the team looks for a good location.
We had to double our efforts here because it looks like there's a lot more tsunami damage than we thought, so we're really focusing on doing everything we can to help restore this reef. Clear.
Todd and Dr. Harris have decided to augment their previous site in deeper water, where the shifting sand from the tsunami won't bury the reef balls and kill the coral they will plant on them. To make sure they don't hit natural reef, they ride the reef ball down, guiding it to a safe spot in the sand. Now that the site is identified, the team is ready to launch the rest of the reef balls.
Go on, Lee. Come on, Lee. Pull it up. Yes, sir. That's a good method.
Todd goes in for a look. He's pleased with the coral growth on the deep water reef balls.
The whole economy of Phuket is based on tourism. Most of it dive tourism. If we don't bring that back, the people here will be hurt even more by the tsunami than the physical effects. It's the livelihood, and that's critical.
That's for the corals, that's not for you.
The last stage of the reef ball process is to rescue living coral and then propagate it.
So we're going to Gilligan's Island?
John and Heather set up a coral propagation table on a floating platform. Underwater, Todd gathers various species of coral in need of rescue.
We're going to work only with imperiled corals. Those are corals that we feel are going to be dead within a year or less.
He then cuts small pieces of them, which he gathers in a basket and sends to the surface.
Mixing.
John mixes a quick hardening cement.
And pouring.
While Heather dips the coral fragments in an antibiotic solution. They are then placed in cement plugs made from medicine cups.
The coral is a living animal that's like condominiums. Many corals live within one colony.
Each coral we rescue, we want to turn into many different colonies. So if one of them happens to die, we still preserve the original genetics. It's cloning, actually.
Todd takes the plugs out of the molds and uses an underwater glue to fasten them to the reef balls. The process is repeated, species by species. Still bears the scars of the tsunami as attested by this spirit house, built to remember a victim. Tourism has been slower to return here. Today, some local fishermen are to act as guides to Todd and his team as they survey the Khao Reef.
So what we're going to do for the fishermen is go back with the fishermen, have them tell us where they would like to have their reefs so that they're a safe place for them to go boating, and to rebuild those reefs so the fish populations come back and they have a place to go fish and make a living for their families.
Todd and the fishing boat captain discuss the reef and the tsunami.
He had 3 children, but he lost his wife at that time.
But he still has his children, so now he's a single father. He must raise them. And that would be very difficult. We've now come out to the deeper reefs where we've got clearer water. We're looking for a sandy patch where there is not any natural reef, so if we build a reef, we won't accidentally drop it on a natural reef. Clear.
A half hour later, the verdict is in.
It would be a great place to build a reef. It is.
Now that they've located a good spot, the next step is to discuss the project with the chief of the village.
Thank you very much.
Todd hikes back to La Flora past the ruins of a resort. Tomorrow, he returns to Ban Nam Kem, a devastated fishing village he visited 6 weeks after the tsunami. In the fishing village of Ban Nam Kem, 90% of the population lost a family member. Todd visited the village 6 weeks after the tsunami.
There was 300 people sitting on the foundations of what used to be houses. With the emptiest stairs, I mean, I still have nightmares. Just their faces looking at me and just not knowing what to do. It's driven me to want to make a difference and to want to help these people.
The Thai general in charge of tsunami reconstruction efforts is the Reef Ball Foundation's escort in Ban Nam Kem. He shows the team a memorial park that's being built for the anniversary of the disaster.
What I call memorial walk. On the right-hand side will be the name of those who lost their life from this village. More than 1,200 people.
The chief of the village is introduced to the team. The fishing industry is vital to the Thai people. Until tourism returns to Khao Lak, more and more people seek sustenance from the sea.
So which one brings the most money in the market?
This one is more expensive than this one.
And all the boats using nets, or there's a mixture?
ใช้อวนหมดเลยหรือว่า most of them
Basically, we're building houses for the fish. So where we put the houses down, fishing will be much easier. They'll catch a lot more fish.
เข้ามาอยู่
It's time for a demonstration of the reef ball. The response is enthusiastic.
They were very, very knowledgeable about what's happening under the sea and understood why reefs are important. They were very eager to help, and their only question was, when does it start? Patch it up. See, when I first went there, it was total destruction. When I went there today, the people were happy again, and that made me feel very good. And the people were working again. That made me feel very good.
Another person, and the more who help will help this country get back what it lost. when you're working, you're not thinking so much of the tragedy. You're helping create a new beginning. You're looking forward. You're looking ahead. You're not looking back.